From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
Good afternoon. Your $1,400 third stimulus check landed today, but are you ready for those multiple stimulus checks under the fourth stimulus package? They're heating up right now. As we go into Afternoons LALATE, fourth stimulus checks updating across the board are getting incredible breaking news. The president has not one, but three press conferences today about fourth stimulus. And in this recording, I'll go over each of those recordings one at a time that detailed your fourth stimulus check and fourth stimulus package. I'll also break down in this video for the first time ever who gets the fourth stimulus check and when would they speed the money issue. The issue is how soon they get to get that stimulus check out. And also I'll go over the path to get that stimulus check out the door. I'll also go over why Jamie Dimon's remarks today from Wall Street are so important for purposes of understanding your fourth stimulus check. I'll also go over missing stimulus checks today and those mail checks from third stimulus. A lot of details in a major Afternoons recording. Let's get underway, starting right now, direct from Los Angeles, as Afternoons LA kicks up right now, direct from LA. And away we go in a big Afternoons LA broadcast as $1,400 third stimulus checks landed in bank accounts today by Direct Express, Direct Deposit, and the big banks. Congratulations across the board. But away we go right into fourth stimulus without a breath break at all. And that started today when the President of the United States had not one, but three live broadcasts. And you saw them earlier today on this channel. In this recording, I'll go back over those live broadcasts now taped where the President, the press secretary, and the Commerce Secretary all spoke about your fourth stimulus package. I'll also explain to you how fourth stimulus checks manifest themselves. Who gets them? How much? How does this work? How soon it happen? And what you need to know and what you need to push is the purple power. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe because, boy, this has been a big day and now we see the push underway. I don't want you to miss a single minute because it's costly to miss this big moolah. Also, like this video, and if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. And please do not spend your stimulus check at the Calcino tonight. All right, let's get to the breaking news. Earlier today, Jamie Dimon, who's the head of JP Morgan Chase, one of the biggest banks in the United States, had this statement, and I'll just basically paraphrase it for you. We're booming. The economy is on fire. With the economy on fire, you want stimulus out the door as fast as possible. You don't want stimulus to come after the economy doesn't need stimulating. The FANG stocks rallied today, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google. But what's important to understand is how fourth stimulus would get out the door. Let me go over this analysis the first time you're seeing this analysis on this channel because viewers asked it earlier today. So these are new graphics, of course, only you'll see here on LALATE. How will fourth stimulus get formulated, and now what's the path to get it done? The only likely path to get it done is a reconciliation path. That means it's a two-step process, just like the third stimulus package. The reconciliation process starts with the House agreeing to do a bill by recon, then sending it to the Senate to agree to do the bill by recon, and then that becoming a law, that there will be another recon. That is what I call the tow truck. Then the tow truck goes back and picks up the tow hitch, the actual bill that they're going to do by recon. The House passes it and then goes back to the Senate. When in the Senate, that's when the vote is amended in a two-day process called the vote-a-rama. That's what happened earlier this year. if you recall. For example, $10,200 of tax-free for unemployment that was put in the Votorama. The student loan debt forgiveness, if it happens, is not taxable. That was added in the Votorama. FPUC became $300, not $400 a week. That was done at the Votorama. It's 48 hours of madness. And I'll be live with you when it happens. This channel was not live in the capacity it is now when the Votorama happened last time. Boy, we'll have a blast. And, whether it's Crayola-rama or Votorama, something will happen. And so far, 21 of 50 senators want that reoccurring stimulus check in there. Who gets this stimulus check? And how does it pay out? And who's eligible for it? This is what we know so far. First, we know about the eligibility of the stimulus check. We know that everyone less than $75,000 would get it. The same eligibility as the third stimulus package. $75,000 for individual, $150,000 for married couple. Also, household. It'll be a 4-person household. Husband, wife, 2 kids, all get a stimulus check. We also know if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, veterans, you would get a stimulus check as well. Whether you're employed or not employed, it would not be taxable. It's a stimulus check. And the amount, that is the only among the items that we don't know, but we know of the eligibility. Who gets it? We have those answers because those 21 of 50 Democrats have answered that question. So then we go to the question of how soon, when, LALATE, would I get my stimulus check under this 4th stimulus package? If they got this done, there's a couple of speed issues at hand. First, every month it takes to get this done, you miss a stimulus check. You want it done as soon as possible. Second, you're worried about an economic rebound of this economy. You don't want the economy to rebound because ultimately if it rebounds, no one will want to give you stimulus. And finally, you don't want jobs to be restored because if jobs are restored, then what will happen is people may not want to give you stimulus. How much money are we talking about here? And what is important to know about the sums of money? Well, earlier today, I detailed to you how this calculates out. The calculation is quite obvious. If you are looking at a stimulus check over 6 months, and we're looking at a stimulus check from July to December at $2,000, this would be $2,000 a month or $12,000 over those 6 months. If it's $1,400 stimulus checks over 6 months, that's $8,400. These are huge sums of money. And ultimately, these are money years owed. And away we go. Now, what's important to understand is that earlier this week, Chuck Schumer had a major win. And that major win was to get things done by reconciliation. That major win can best be described with this graphic. Chuck Schumer now has the ability to have 3 more reconciliations this year. He can literally blanket the entire year with reconciliations and do stimulus checks into next year. No joke. It literally can be done like that. Here's what's at issue. He used a prior recon from last year he had not used for the 3rd stimulus package this year. Every year, a Senate has a spring recon in its pocket to use and a fall recon to use. They're given one per session, one in the spring and one in the fall. He didn't use the spring 2021 recon because he used the leftover one from last year. But on Monday, he won a major ruling for the Senate parliamentarian, which said you can go amend the 3rd stimulus package, the one that just sent you the check today, with a 4th stimulus package. And then after that, you could do a 5th stimulus package also this spring. In the fall, you can do a 6th stimulus package. If this sounds incredibly great news, it is. What we're talking about here is this item. Now, what's important to understand is that it takes time to get a reconciliation bill to the Senate. It takes 2 months. And so speed issue is really a big issue. You want that check, you want this bill there as quickly as possible. Purple power, push, 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 do your thing. You need to understand how there's so many issues at play. First, this is big money. This is the first time in the history of this channel, which now is approaching 1-year anniversary at the end of this year, at the end of this month, that I've ever seen this many Democrats want to give you big stimulus checks. Number 2, no Republican wants to give you a single penny of a stimulus check. So you don't want the president to do a bipartisan pathway. But today in the videos, you're going to see the president said, I'll give a week or 2 weeks to talk to the Republicans to figure out if they'll do a bipartisan. Here's the problem with that. First, they're not going to do it bipartisan. Second, the Republicans are not going to give you a single stimulus check. So you don't want the president to do it by bipartisanship. Moreover, it doesn't make sense. Today, the president was asked, would you do a part of the bill that doesn't have anything in it? He said, absolutely not. Well, the biggest part of the bill that's really of contention is the climate. And the Republicans have said, we're not doing a climate bill. You can give us roads and highways. We're not doing climate. The president says doing nothing is not an option. If it's not an option, then what are we waiting around for? Do the recon bill and get this to the Senate and get it done within 2 months. And 2 months from now would mean stimulus checks starting in July. It's all really incredible, great news. You want to take this video and share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter, hashtag MSC, hashtag Purple Power. And what you're going to see in the videos right now is that the White House, all the different teams said they want to hear from you. Over the next 2 weeks, they are having meetings, whether it is the Commerce Secretary you're going to see or the Transportation Secretary, to hear the input you want to have about the stimulus package. Ultimately, you need to make your message loud and clear, whether it's sharing the video or calling them up or writing them a letter or send them an email. Express what you think should be in the package. And let's listen into what the Commerce Secretary said today about hearing from other sides about what's in the bill.
Frankly, we're behind. And we've neglected for too long important investments in our infrastructure. We need to ensure that investments in infrastructure, advanced manufacturing, workforce development, and our care economy are made at the scale we need, and are made in every single community in America. And as the president has led us to, is leading us to Build Back Better, that means we need to do so more inclusively and ensure that these investments that we are making in broadband, in housing, in the care economy, in water, are in every community in America, rural, tribal, urban, communities of color, and reaching everyone across America. The fact is we have failed for a long time to invest, and as a result, we have fallen behind. So why does that matter? It matters because it makes it harder for small businesses to compete. It matters because it makes it harder for American companies to compete, and it makes it harder for the average American to get a decent job and to get the skills they need in order to get a high-paying job in the industries that are growing today and tomorrow. And the fact of the matter is, we know that lack of investment, particularly in public transportation, transit, water, housing, has hurt low-income folks and people of color the most.
Meantime, the press secretary also today addressed the issue about why you need stimulus out the door. In her case, she's talking also about infrastructure. As part of the discussion at issue today is convincing naysayers about what needs to be put in the bill. I'll have more about that in a second, but let's listen into what the press secretary said.
4% of Republicans back the president's proposed investment in the care economy, something the secretary just talked about quite a bit. And all of the investments the survey looked at, from roads and bridges to housing, clean energy, and manufacturing, have the support of over 60% of voters and a majority of independents. The evidence is unanimous that the American people support the president's vision of rebuilding our economy and his plan to pay for it by asking big corporations to pay their fair share. A Morning Consult poll just last week showed that 2-to-1 registered voters back a hypothetical $3 trillion infrastructure package. And earlier data for Progress poll showed that by a 35% margin, voters want to pay for this plan by asking the wealthy and big corporations to pay their fair share. Another update, today we can proudly say that in addition to the 150 million shots in arms, we have successfully sent over 150 million relief checks to the American people. The fourth batch of the economic impact payments from the American Rescue Plan totals more than 25 million payments, which brings the total dispersed so far to more than 156 million payments, totaling $372 billion since the plan was signed into law less than a month ago. The largest block of these latest payments went to Social Security beneficiaries who didn't file a 2020 or 2019 tax return and didn't use the non-filers tool last year, which is consistent with our view that it would be more challenging. The easiest would be those who had information that the IRS had, and it would become more challenging. So this is a more challenging group, but this is certainly good news. Within 2 weeks of the American Rescue Plan becoming law, the IRS and Treasury had started dispersing 170 million payments. At a similar point during the first round of economic impact payments authorized a year ago, the first payments had yet to be completed. So just to give you a point of comparison. It's also important to note, and I know there's been some coverage of this, the IRS has been consistently underfunded, with 20,000 fewer staff available to help Americans. That's over the last 10 years, 20,000 fewer. And our commitment is also to working on this problem and hiring more personnel at the IRS. The president's...
And there you go. Not only a briefing about fourth stimulus, but surprisingly a briefing about third stimulus, which I didn't even know was in there, giving you the update that a big round of stimulus checks landed today. Here's what you need to know about if you did not get a stimulus check today. First, if you did not see a direct deposit and you're watching this video after 5 o'clock local time, Pacific evening in the evenings where you are, give it to the end of tomorrow for direct deposit. But you also need to check the mail. Nearly 50% of the viewers of this channel will be getting it in the mail, even if you got the first or second stimulus check by direct deposit. After that, also watch this channel because IRS will give guidance about how to request a missing stimulus check. This may be you or it may be a member of your household. Previously, IRS said that for the first and second stimulus checks of last year, the way to request it if it's missing is filing a tax return. It's free to file a tax return. Anyone can file a tax return, and you request it in just one line of the tax return. Finally, I've had nearly a dozen viewers today say they got an extra stimulus check, that they got 2 for themselves. And they asked me, what do you do with that extra check? I don't know. Well, let's wait and see if IRS gives advisory about that as well. Elsewhere, if you're a mail check recipient, wow, March 26 checks actually showed up today. I had viewers tell me. So they're incredibly late, almost 2 weeks late. The April 2nd to 8th checks are landing as well, at about 10 days to that. And more rounds of April 9th checks are going out in just a day or two from now. Meantime, what's important to understand is this routing time for fourth stimulus. Jamie Dimon, head of J.P. Morgan Chase, said, I have little doubt that there will be excessive savings, new stimulus savings, and huge deficit spending in a statement released today. More QE and more potential infrastructure bill, a successful vaccine, and euphoria around the end of the pandemic. The U.S. economy will likely boom. This boom could easily run into 2023 because of the spending. This is important because of what I talked about before. You want that fourth stimulus bill in the Senate as soon as possible, not only because you're going to miss a stimulus check every month, but because of what Buck Diamond's talking about, economic rebound. The number 3 underneath the overlay of the graphic is job restoration. The job number situation is very, very important when understanding stimulus. How does this work? Janet Yellen, the President of the United States, Jerome Powell, all say that stimulus is dependent upon 2 factors, jobs and jobs. Now, there's 2 numbers that determine jobs, the monthly job report and the weekly unemployment numbers. Tomorrow's the weekly unemployment numbers. Every month is the jobless numbers. Well, the job numbers last month showed that we generated 1 million jobs in the month of March. There's 8 million missing. 1 into 8 is 8 months. But there's a catch. Most insiders and most analysts on Wall Street last Friday said we could see 2 million jobs generated in the month of April that we're in. And guess what? I agree. I agree because yesterday the Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, reopened the entire state in the month of June. That means that businesses have been closed for a year will be reopened. It means an enormous number of jobs are going to be created. That's June. You want this bill in the Senate as fast as possible while those 8 million jobs are missing. If there's 2 million jobs put back in this economy this month, that means in 4 months, April, May, June, July, or potentially August, the economy could be fully rebounded and some of those Democrats may not want to give you a stimulus check. That's why it's important to get this bill into the Senate as soon as possible. What's also important to understand is that there's a lot of money available for you under third stimulus. After this video, to the extent that I have time, I'll be back on air again and be going over the other money for you under third stimulus package. But if I don't, here's a little bit about the community page and the volunteers who can help get you food, rent, utilities, and mortgage assistance, and show you where it is at your city, county, and state now for third stimulus. Here's a little bit about the community page. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on Afternoons LALATE. During the commercial break, one viewer said, do the children get that stimulus check under the fourth stimulus package? Yes. Every individual gets it. Everyone who got a third stimulus check would get one as well. Let's go over who gets a fourth stimulus check under the proposal from the Democrats in the Senate. If you make less than $75,000 individual, $150,000 married couple. Household size, 4 people in the household. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, and Railroad benefits. If you're a child in that household, up to a 4-person household. And if you're an adult dependent as well, you get a stimulus check sent to the person who you're dependent on their tax return. Ultimately, the calculations are very clear across the board as well. It's per month, and it's as many months as are going on. It's important to understand that these calculations have only one number, really 2 numbers at issue. How many months and how much per month. If it's 7 months or if it's 6 months. And if it's $2,000 or $1,400, for example. $2,000 per month per person. If it's 6 months, that's $12,000 over 6 months. If it's $1,400, then it's $8,400 over 6 months. There's a lot of things to do on the to-do list of fourth stimulus. MSC is number 1, hashtag MSC. There's talk to put FPUC retro in there. FPUC is that enhanced unemployment benefit that didn't run from July to December of last year. SSI reform, tying it to CPIE, not to COLA. Likely not to see $2,400 if they're already giving a massive $12,000 to you, but certainly raising benefits is a possibility and a new benchmark. Hazard pay as well, minimum wage. Remember, Chuck Schumer now has all these reconciliation options because of that major win on Monday. And with that, thank you for joining me. It's Afternoons LALATE. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Boy, what a day with so much breaking news. But I can't ever remember a day in which the President of the United States has not one, but 3 live broadcasts all about legislative efforts that he wants to do for a stimulus package. It's very rare, and I know that this presidency is doing things a little bit different, but it's incredibly clear. It's incredibly clear. He's trying to push this bill to a finality. Of course, it's not reduced a bill yet. I need to remind you that. It's still a proposal. What you heard during his message today, I want to comment on because you're going to hear it in a second in the next recording. First, he talks about the corporate tax rate. I don't think this is much of something that he should be battling over. Choose a number and stay with the number and let it go to the bill and let it go to the vote-a-rama and let them modify it. Joe Manchin says 25, President says 28. Who knows what the number is? 26, 24, 22. Just do the bill and get it sent out. I mean, really, ultimately, Democrats are going to decide this because it's by recon. Send it off. Next, he spends a lot of time today talking about what is infrastructure, what is not infrastructure. Don't have to do that. We're already bought on the bill. We already agree we like infrastructure. Now, to the extent the Republicans don't want to do climate, we got it. Do it by recon. Next, he also talks about global tax rates. We don't need to be talking about what other countries are doing. Just focus on us and focus on getting to the finish line, getting the bill out and fixing things. That's what Americans need. We need action now. We don't need a lot of focusing on foreign countries. And with that, let me show you a little bit of that video in which he talks about these issues. Actually, let me cut to the end of the video, because in the end of the video, he becomes very peeved. You rarely see him this angry. And he was very angry about how Republicans are proposing doing nothing. Let's listen in.
Wage earners. I didn't hear anybody hollering in this recovery, the so-called before I became president, this K-shaped recovery, where billionaires made $300 billion more during this period. Where's the outrage there? I'm not trying to punish anybody, but damn it. Maybe it's because I come from a middle-class neighborhood. I'm sick and tired of ordinary people being fleeced. Let me close by saying this. Whatever partisan divisions there are around other issues, there don't have to be around this one. The divisions of the moment shouldn't stop us from doing the right thing for the future.
And this is where the president seems to forget his own message. He understands there's no partisanship when it comes to infrastructure. There is partisanship when it comes to climate. There is partisanship when it comes to taxes. And if there is, just proceed on recon. He keeps on thinking that his bill is only infrastructure, which he himself knows it's not. It also includes climate and tax raises. And those are partisan issues. And if there are, then do it by recon. Don't wait and move forward. Let's listen in more.
These aren't Republican bridges, Democratic airports, Republican hospitals, or Democratic power grid. Think of the Transcontinental Railroad, interstate highway system, or the space race. We're one nation, united and connected. As I said last week, I'm going to bring Republicans to the White House. I invite them to come. We'll have good faith negotiations. And any Republican who wants to get this done, I invite them. We have to get these things done. We're at an inflection point in American democracy. This is a moment where we prove whether or not democracy can deliver, whether it can lay the foundation for an economy built from the bottom up and the middle out, not trickle-down economics from the very top, whether it can lay a good foundation for good jobs in the 21st century economy. I tell the kids, the young people who work for me.
What's ironic, and let me cut back here to give you the big update. What's ironic is that in this very long broadcast, which you're not going to see on this recording, he spends nearly 30 minutes talking about a bill, but never mentions climate, which is in the bill. He never talks of what it hasn't been reduced to a bill, but the proposal. He refuses to mention the word climate because that's what the part of the bill that the Republicans don't like. He doesn't talk about the other taxes that he seeks to raise, like inheritance taxes, which is not corporations. It's people like you and the person down the street and the neighbor. If your grandma dies, you pay inheritance taxes. That is a tax that impacts a lot of people. It is a partisan battle when it comes to taxes, and it's a partisan battle when it comes to climate. And with that, do it by recon. You want the president not to do partisanship, not to succumb to going down a road of modifying the bill, because ultimately, those Republicans aren't going to give you a stimulus check. They've actually said they only want to do bridges and highways and nothing else. They've given a price tag, and their price tag does not include anything that we have seen. Remember, there's a to-do list, and that to-do list, those Democrats want to get done. The path for forced stimulus is a recon path. That's the only path to get it out the door. A vote-a-rama is when those Democratic senators vow to put that stimulus check in there. And so far, 21 of 50 want to put it in there. They're not going to go to the mat over a corporate tax rate. They're happy to modify the corporate tax rate. Joe Manchin just 2 days ago said, I'm fine to go to 25. I'm not going to go to 28. And the president's not adverse to 25. That's not the problem. The problem is timing. The problem is your issue our issue of timing. You want this bill done sooner rather than later because you and I don't know how fast this economy is rebounding. People were surprised last Friday when 1 million jobs were created in the month of March. They thought it was 300,000. Imagine how different the numbers were. 1 million versus 300,000. So if this month rolls around and it's 2 million and people thought it's 1 million, it could be too quickly, too fast, and that may cause a big issue for stimulus. Ultimately, the message is very loud and clear. Of all the items this channel has covered over the last year, this may be the biggest single payday if they get this done. This may be the single biggest payday ever for the viewers of this channel. Multiple stimulus checks from sometime in the summer to the end of the year for all viewers of this channel who make less than $75,000. This is an incredible payday, and you don't want to be defeated by two factors: not doing it by recon and waiting too long for when the economy rebounds. So take this video, share it on social media, tag it with the elected officials, call them up, write them a letter, hashtag MSC, hashtag Purple Power. They want to hear from you. And in the recordings today, all three of them said over the next week, they want to hear from input about what should be in there. With that, stay informed, stay focused, keep on smiling. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, keep on smiling, don't lose hope, and always stay of LA for more.